Hey guys, it's Joey Gaming, and welcome to the first day of the Joey Gaming 12 Days of Christmas 2023 edition. Yes, that's right, this series is officially back for the 2023 year, and honestly, I am super excited. There's some awesome content that is coming out. So without any further ado, let's get right into this video. So this video is actually a story time. It's a bunch of story times, actually, that took place in December of 2021, aka my senior year of high school. And during that time, my student council / exec, right, we did something called the 12 Days of Christmas at my high school, and it's a lot of fun. We had Christmas assemblies, we had vice principals' hair getting bleached. It's all crazy stuff, and I want to go ahead and tell you some stuff about it. And I don't know, there's some hilarious and entertaining stuff I want to go ahead and tell you guys and show you. So yeah, but before I go ahead and get into the video, I just want to go ahead and shout out everyone that you see on your screen right now that is following me on Twitter. So if you want to shout out, then all you got to do is just follow me on Twitter, and that's really about it. So the story actually starts in mid-November of 2021. And on this day, we decided that, hey, we're going to go ahead and start the process of the planning for the 12 Days of Christmas. The 12 Days of Christmas is an event that my school does every single year. And basically what it is that it's a Christmas event that takes place during the last 12 days of school before winter break. And every single day is a dress-up day, right? For example, one day could be Santa Day, or another day could be an Elf Day, another day could be a Snowman Day or whatever, right? And it doesn't always have to be Christmas related. When I was on the exec / student council, one of the days was just dress up as a teacher day. And we also had a proposal for a bring anything but a backpack day. That got shot down, but I will go into more detail about the days later. So, yeah. On the day of this planning session, we talked a little bit about the 12 Days of Christmas, but the main discussion on this particular day was about the cans. So, on top of the 12 Days of Christmas, my school also had this program where they would donate cans, and how they would do it is that they would encourage students and faculty members to bring in cans so they can donate it, right? At the end of the program, the school would take all the cans that they received and donate it to this nonprofit / organization, right? I'm assuming it's an organization. I'm assuming it's some sort of nonprofit, right? I'm not exactly sure. I just know we just donated it to this one location in my own community. So yeah, I'm just assuming it is a nonprofit. I could be wrong on that, all right? So before we actually could think and talk about the 12 Days of Christmas, and don't get me wrong, we still talked about it a little bit. The first thing that we needed to get done was figure out how we're going to do cans. You see, my teacher / supervisor for the exec, right? Her name for the video is Mrs. Government, not her real name. I just really don't want to use her real name. I didn't get permission to use her real name, so we're gonna give her a fake name, right? She came in, right? She kind of led the conversation this one day and said, hey guys, we got to get this can stuff. And for those that are new to the exec, what it is, and she explained what it is, right? She said, on top of that it's really hard to encourage students to bring cans, so we need to heavily promote it, right? My suggestion was, I brought it up saying that, hey, maybe instead of donating cans, maybe we can donate something else, like maybe like toothpaste, maybe some hygiene products, clothes, maybe anything else that could be easier than cans, right? That got shot down extremely quick. My teacher explained that this company, this organization actually relied off of our school the most, and we cannot get rid of it. So at that point, it's like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough. Let's continue doing the cans. And what we ended up deciding on how we're going to do it is that we're going to have students take their cans to their first hour, right? And we're going to make it a competition. Whatever class got the most amount of cans would win a reward, right? And at this point, we really haven't came up with what the rewards are. I think we talked about it a little bit. So we just talked about it, and how it would work for us as the exec is that At the end of the first hour, all the exec members would be split up into multiple groups, and we would go to different classrooms, and we would pick up the cans and take them all to Mrs. Government's class, right? And then we would count them there in the following day, right? Up until this point, we really didn't decide on what the incentives are going to be. So we just decided that, hey, we're just going to announce the can drive, and that's really about it. So what we ended up doing is that I went ahead and I created some posts. Since I ran the social media account, my job was to create social media posts, and that's what I ended up doing, right? I ended up creating this story post, and oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention, my school had this one class, right? Forgot the term of it, but basically it's a class where you learn how to do makeup, nails, hair, all sorts of stuff, right? For whatever reason, I had to put in that if you had that class, you had to donate it to your third hour instead. I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. My guess is that that class wasn't available for first period or second period, so you had to donate instead you had to donate your cans to your third hour instead. That's my theory. I could be absolutely wrong. I don't quite remember what the reasoning for that is. So after I created the story post, I went ahead and I created the Instagram post, and here it is. Two things. First, you might notice that I had to censor a little bit of information. I did it for my own safety and the safety of my own community. I will get into more detail about this later because I had to censor a lot of information from the Instagram posts that I posted here because it had my school's name in it and a few other information that could lead to me or where I live. So there has been some information that I had to censor. So so get used to it. There's going to be some information that I will censor. So yeah. Second thing is that you may notice that the Instagram post itself might look a little different. And the reason for that is the person that ran the social media account after me, she decided to delete all the advertisements and a few other posts. And unfortunately, all the posts that I'm going to mention today have been deleted with the exception of one, which I will share here. Have been deleted, and yeah, they no longer exist on the Instagram account. So instead, I have to pull up the Instagram data, and basically what I did is I downloaded the Instagram data before I transferred it over to the new person, and I'm so glad I did because it archives all the information that Instagram keeps about the account, so I have access to it, and it archives all the Instagram posts. So what you're seeing here is just an archived version of what the posts looks like on the account. Well, not looks like, but you get what I mean. It's just an archived post, basically. So the next couple sessions of the exec or whatever, when we were around the big table discussing what we're going to do next, is all about the 12 days of Christmas. And we talked about it a little while. We decided on a few things, and this is the final list that we came up with. And the first day was going to be a sock day, followed with a flannel day, followed by a red day, followed by a winter wonderland, ski day, Hawaiian Christmas, North Pole day, dress up as a teacher, hunting Rudolph / camo day, ugly sweater, twin day, and pajama day. Originally, pajama day was supposed to be bring anything but a backpack day, and we were so close on actually having that. But the reason why we had to change it had to come down to my principal. You see, my principal had to approve of the dress-up days as well. So my teacher, Mrs. Government, she loved the idea, by the way. Everyone in the exec loved the idea of bring anything but a backpack day. You know, everyone loved that idea because it's hilarious. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen those videos. If not, you should look them up. There's some very hilarious and clever things, right? So my teacher sent that information to the principal. The principal saw that and said, yeah, no, we are not doing that. And he said, yeah, no, he didn't approve of it. We had to go ahead and change day 12. So we changed it to pajama day, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to bring anything but a backpack day. I was excited to see how that was going to turn out. In fact, I had plans to go ahead and take photos of students with their permission of whatever thing they have and make a post of the best ones. But, you know, Oh well, that didn't happen unfortunately because my principal said no to it. On the social media side of things, I went ahead and I created a lot of stuff for the social media account. Actually, one of the first things I did was create this post right here, this story post, and it had all the days on it, right? And it's like a calendar on it. Mrs. Government loved it, and she took that image and tried to print it out as a regular thing so she can hang it around the school. The problem with that is that the Instagram story, right, is not the same ratio as paper. So I actually had to go in and modify it. So I did that, sent it to Mrs. Government. She printed it out. So it was really cool going into my other classes and see this calendar for the 12 days of Christmas being hanged up right there. The only problem with that was that it was all black and white because my school didn't really believe or didn't use a lot of colored ink. But despite that, it was still really cool walking into my other classes and seeing this poster that I made being hung up in my different classes, which I thought it was cool. I also made several other story posts as well, which is the ones that you saw earlier when I was telling you guys what the days were, right? So I made some of those. Unfortunately, I lost like 2 of them, unfortunately. I don't know why. There's a good chance I probably never made them. Like, I don't know. Maybe I forgot some days. And what I would do is that every day before school, I would go ahead and I would just send that image out onto the story so people know what day it was. Actually, it was the night before, actually. And I'm guessing that sometime I missed some days, or maybe I don't know, maybe I did make them, but they probably never made it on the account. I don't know why. I'm missing some days from my I'm missing some of the files from that, so that's unfortunate. I also made some regular posts as well, and here are the images. This is actually called a carousel post, where the information is spread out on different images, and that's what I ended up doing because, once again, I just didn't like putting too much information on one slide. I think it looks way too messy. So I kind of divided it into multiple slides, so people had to swipe left to see what it is, and it adds more engagement. It's kind of fun to do, so that's another reason why I did it. It's a lot of fun. I did that. I was also tasked to make a video. Mrs. Government told me, like, hey, Joey, can you also make a video, right? Can you make a video going over everything? I'm like, yeah, sure thing. So I did. I ended up making a video, but unfortunately, due to several reasons, I cannot show you that video. Part of it is, well, actually, most of the video is due to there being a lot of information in there that could lead to where I went to school, and that means I have to censor a lot of it, and I just think it'll be better if I just don't show it. So unfortunately, I will not be showing you that video, but I did make a video version where I told the whole school all of the days. So yeah, that was also pretty cool. Totally forgot one more thing that I do not want to exclude from this video, and it's another Christmas program / event that my school put on. And this was actually ran by another person in the exec / student council. I wasn't too deeply involved, so I don't know everything what's going on, but basically this person in the exec decided to do this event. And basically what it is that the school would rent out this building or whatever, right? And what they would do is that they would have businesses or organizations, and they would donate a tree to this school program. And what they would do is that the business would come in, decorate the tree, and then they would donate money or something. It may be an angel tree, like, you know, those things where you put on trees and it's like something that what a kid wishes for, then someone gets a present. I think that's what it's all about. I could be absolutely wrong, but I don't know. It's something that I also promoted on that account. I'm not really going to show any of the posts here for various reasons that I'm not going to get into. But I just thought I should just go ahead and mention it. Not going to say the name of this program because I don't know how easy it is to find out about my town's information. So back to the whole can drive situation. Not a lot of people donated a lot of cans that I was told. I was told that not a lot of people donated cans, We ended up on the second last day with 2,000 cans, and I was told that was more on the lower side by someone else in the exec. I don't know if that's the case. This was my first year being on the exec, and technically my last because I was a senior and couldn't run in the exec again. I decided that I was going to make another Instagram post, and what I did is I took a photo of all the cans, and I wrote a caption saying that, hey, we have 2,000 cans, tomorrow is the last day, so if you have cans or plan to bring cans, please bring them tomorrow before the deadline, or something around those lines. I sent that photo and the caption over to Mrs. Government, got it approved, and then I posted it. The next day was when stuff actually got pretty crazy. So, first things first, I actually donated cans to Mr. Government's class, which is my American government teacher, right? And yes, this is the husband to Mrs. Government. He actually becomes Santa Claus later in the video, which I will explain later. He actually had this thing going on where if you donate cans to his class, he will give you extra credit. So I actually donated cans to my 4th hour teacher instead of my 1st hour teacher. The next day, we took all the cans and we analyzed them, we counted all of them, and the final total turned out to be 5,044, so more than doubled the amount of cans. And it turned out the class that had the most amount of cans is this teacher. I'm not going to give her a fake name. I really don't want to come up with a fake name. Bit of a fun fact about her class. That teacher actually became the new exec supervisor next year. This is actually Mrs. Government's last year being on the exec or being the supervisor on the exec. So pretty cool fun fact. Not really relevant to the video whatsoever. I thought I should just go ahead and mention it. So I went ahead, I made this Instagram post, and this Instagram post is actually still up on the school's official Instagram account. Here it is. Still had to blur some information out. I had to blur some information out. Here is the caption, and here you can see what the incentives were. Up until this point, I don't think we announced the incentives. I think we just waited as late as possible to announce the incentives because I can't find anything that suggested that we announced it earlier. So, I don't know. I'm assuming that's the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they announced it over the school announcements or through some other media. But I don't know. I'm assuming that we kind of announced the incentives later than usual. So, the incentives were hot chocolate, cheer versus the dance team. Not going to reveal their real drill team name because I don't know how searchable that is. Because I don't want that to link back to my actual school. They're going to play the cheer in a basketball game. Then the school was going to wax the boys' basketball team's legs. Then the next incentive was to bleach my vice principal's hair. And about my vice principal was actually pretty cool. Dude is awesome, I gotta say it. Not really relevant to the story, I just thought I should just mention this. My vice principal is the most beloved person that I have ever met. Dude is a celebrity at my school. Everyone loves my vice principal. He is awesome. So for the sake of the story time, I'm going to call him Mr. Awesome. So the incentive was to bleach Mr. Awesome's hair. Pretty cool. I will go ahead and mention that later. The next incentive was going to be extended lunch. And then there was going to be hypnosis. Most of those things, with the exception of with the basketball and lunch, will be held at the Christmas assembly. And I don't know, it was really cool. The extended lunch, right? We originally were going to do it for 45 minutes. We thought about doing it an hour, but Mrs. Government did not want that. In her words, she's worried that kids would go down to a neighboring large town, right, which is a 45-minute long drive, and she doesn't want kids going to that said town because they don't want, because it's a long town, and we know that there would be definitely people in my town that would definitely go down to this other larger town to get stuff or to eat there. So Mrs. Government didn't want an hour lunch, so it was going to be 45 minutes. So now for the last day of school, and honestly, this part of the video is probably the most craziest out of everything else in this whole video. So starting off, the day was pretty insane as it is because the energy was just up. Because keep in mind, guys, if you've ever been to public school, you would know that on the last day of school before winter break, teachers are not really assigning homework or schoolwork at all, and it's just like a chill day, right? Like there's not really a lot of work whatsoever because most of the teachers are like having their students play board games or they're watching a Christmas movie, eating popcorn or whatever, right? So the day was already pretty good as it is. So, and I don't know, and it just gets better throughout the day, especially in the assembly. So the energy was just up as it is, right? On this day, the exec and Mrs. Government decided that, hey, we're going to hand out crumble cookies to everyone as like a thank you to everyone that has donated cans / as a Christmas present for, because it's the last day before Christmas break. So it's like kind of like a Christmas present to everyone, right? So the plan was that everyone towards the end of the class period would split up and we would hand out crumble cookies to each of the classrooms, right? And Mrs. Government got her husband, Mr. Government, the same guy that gave extra credit to people if they brought cans in, right? She got him, and she had him dress up as Santa Claus, and he had him push this shopping cart around with crumble cookies in it, and it had like a boom box / music box on it, and the music box is playing Christmas music. And what I did is that when we were handing out crumble cookies, I took a moment and I started to follow Mr. Government around, and I was filming him with the intention that I was going to go ahead and post that video later to the social media account. Here's that video right now. Here's Mr. Government walking in his Santa Claus outfit with the crumble cookies and the boombox. I did have to mute the video because of copyright reasons. I'm not gambling if the music is copyrighted or not. So, yeah, that's too bad. I followed him towards the school's elevator that disabled people used, right? And then the video just ends there, really. I was going to get that video approved and uploaded to the social media account, but I was way too lazy, and it also takes a millennia to send videos to Mrs. Government because I have to send it over text messages, and that's not fun. So I never really posted it to the social media account, so that's a never seen before video that I have only seen. So yeah, you're welcome. Later in the day, this was in math class, so third period for me, right? It was pretty normal, right? There was nothing going on. I think there was like a movie or something going on in that class. I don't quite remember, all right? But what I do remember is that midway through class, there was an intercom announcement, and the intercom announcement said that all exec members had to go down to the front office immediately. And the lady that said this kind of said it in a very strict tone. So at that point, I knew that this was my cue to go down to the front office. I just left. That's really about it. I just walked out of the classroom, went to the front office, and my classroom was right outside of the, just outside of the front office. So I was already there within like 30 seconds to like 50 seconds, right? That made no sense, but you get what I mean. At this point, I was kind of thinking to myself, what is going on? Did one of us do something that is not good and we're all going to get a chewing right out of Mrs. Government? Because the thing of my teacher, the student council supervisor, whatever, is that she can be pretty strict sometimes. I mean, it's more like tough love, right? She wants you to succeed, so she's kind of like strict on things, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it works really great on her case, but I mean, if you mess up, you're definitely going to get chewed out, all right? That's definitely what's going on. So it's like, okay, great. One of us is going to get chewed out for something. I just know it. Like, and it's like, okay, what did I do that is wrong? Then some other exec members showed up, and they had the same thought, saying, oh, man, one of us is in trouble. And then Mrs. Government showed up, and she, along with the rest of the exec, in fact, there were some exec members that were kind of late. She had to go into the group meeting and say, hey, where is everyone? But eventually everyone did show up. She explained that the hypnosis person that the school hired, because the school reached its can, there's been a schedule conflict, and he won't be able to show up for the school assembly. So that was not great. So we actually had to come up with a decision on what we needed to do, and that was the reason why Mrs. Government called the emergency meeting. So yeah, it was not because any of us were. It's not because any of us were in trouble. It's because there's something that last minute popped up and we need to go ahead and take care of it, you know? So that was kind of a relief. What we ended up deciding on doing was that we're going to give the school an hour lunch, even though that Mrs. Government did not want it. And we would push the assembly back a little bit, so it's like later in the day. And that's what we ended up doing. And that's what ended up happening. For the assembly itself, oh man, there's quite a lot to go ahead and talk about. So, the start of the assembly, I wasn't involved with the planning of the assembly at all, but I was just like someone behind stage, just helping out and stuff. That's really my goal. So I did like watch it, and basically the whole premise of the assembly is that it's the family waking up on Christmas morning. And for those that haven't watched my previous student council storytime videos, which you should go ahead and check out, by the way, the theme that my school decided to go with was "We Are Family." That was the theme for our school. So we decided that it would be appropriate if the Christmas assembly started out as Christmas morning, and then they opened up Christmas gifts, and they're like each of the incentives that the school has won, and it's like really, really cool. The first thing that we did is that the cheerleaders waxed the boys basketball team's legs, and that was interesting. It wasn't the highlight at all, man. Like, I was kind of bored with it. It was like, okay, cool, whatever, right? The cheerleaders actually got permission to do that. Originally, the cheerleaders were not going to do that, but they ended up getting permission to do so from the school, and that was really cool, I guess. The next thing that happened was we bleached Mr. Awesome's hair, and that is not his real name. The reason why his name is Mr. Awesome is because he's an awesome vice principal. Everyone in the school loves him, and he's just an awesome person, all right? So, we bleached his hair. It looked pretty good. That was kind of awesome, I guess. Dude took it like it's nothing. He was a good sport about it. So, I don't know. Dude was just pretty sick, all right? I don't know what else I can say about him. He's just an awesome person. 10 out of 10. Now for the most exciting part. This was the hypnosis. So the hypnosis guy came in, and he got a bunch of volunteers. Right now, here's the video of all the volunteers doing the hypnosis show. And I actually knew quite a few people that were doing it. At least like 5 to 6 people up there I actually personally know that were doing the hypnosis. And in my head, I never really believed in the hypnosis stuff. I believed that it was all scripted and faked. But so I kind of had that mindset that maybe this is fake. Like, this is definitely fake, you know? So I had that mindset that it was probably fake. So I watched it anyways, and it was kind of weird. Like, this was the most weirdest hypnosis show I've ever seen. Here's some more footage. I'm not going to share every single clip, because a lot of it, I would imagine, is really embarrassing. But here's this clip. I think this clip is not that bad at all. And basically, this dude made all these kids and all these students pet their shoe, had an imaginary friend on their shoulder, all sorts of crazy stuff. Midway through the hypnosis, this dude was making people ride like ponies, or like was on a sleigh. So he had like people doing the whip thing that you do with horses in the Wild West. And this one girl, right, that I actually shared a study hall class with, she was kind of going insane, and she actually fell back on her chair and almost fell down. When that happened, the whole auditorium gasped, and the dude went over, checked on her. She was totally fine, and she was just back in her chair. That was just insane. So after the hypnosis show, right, like, I had, like, in my first semester of my senior year, which this is where the story time takes place, I had my study hall class as my 7th period, right? And I actually knew 2 people, right? First was the girl that I just talked about, and there was another guy that also had that same study hall. So when I had 7th period, I went up to the girl that fell down, and I said, "Hey, how was how was the hypnosis?" And I said, "Hey, what was it like?" And she said something around the lines of that she can't quite remember what happened. She said that apparently she fell on her back, and her back does hurt, but she doesn't remember that at all. So that's what she told me. And I asked the guy that also did it. He had a pretty similar story, except that, he didn't fall back and hurt himself like the girl did, right? So that was pretty crazy. Kind of disappointed, right, that she didn't remember much. She just only remembers, I don't know, she just doesn't remember much according to her, which I thought was kind of crazy. I recorded around 30 minutes of that assembly, and none of that footage went on the Instagram account. I never asked Mrs. Government if I could post it. Once again, I was just lazy, just like the Santa Claus video. So none of that footage got on there. So yeah, after that, Christmas break came, and that's really the end of this Christmas saga of me being on the exec. So with that, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching day 1 of the Joey Gaming 12 Days of Christmas 2023 edition. If you enjoyed, please click the like button and subscribe to the Joey Gaming YouTube channel if you're new here. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and see ya. Peace.